Hello, this will be a quick tutorial on how to do an oil change on a Doosan D30 forklift. First thing is make sure the vehicle is in park and the emergency brake is engaged to the left of the steering column. Now you can find the steering column tilt mechanism on the right hand side just under the key, so you can push the steering wheel forward. The next step will be to open the hood, which is under the seat of the driver's compartment. The hood release is located here, right under the emergency brake. Now during this time, you want to be careful and make sure there's no foreign debris to fall back into the engine bay. Now that we have the hood open, you can go ahead and remove the floor mat. It's cut to fit. Set on the forks out of the way so you don't trip over it. Now you can remove the floor pan simply by lifting up and scooting back towards the rear of the forklift. Also, sit on the forks to be out of the way. Our oil filter on this particular forklift is located right here on the left-hand side of the engine. Take an oil pan, slide it underneath, and a filter wrench comes in handy for these jobs. Simply turn the oil filter counterclockwise. Once you get it started with the oil wrench pliers, it usually can come free just by hand. Make sure you have your pan underneath to catch the excess engine oil. That's some dirty oil. We use approved Doosan OEM oil filters on all of our fleet. Sneak it down in here. Start it on the threads by hand and turn clockwise till it starts to snug up, and then a little bit more. Then we can move to the bottom of the forklift. The forklift drain bolt is located here. It is a 19mm or 3/4 standard size to remove. Turn counterclockwise to remove. Make sure your pan is handy. It's going to drop a lot of oil. The oil draining will take approximately 3 to 5 minutes to entirely drain out of the system. Once it is done draining, reinstall the drain plug bolt. Make sure you tighten this by hand and then stick a wrench on it to turn it another 1/4 turn to snug it up firmly against the oil pan. Now that we've drained our old oil and replaced our oil filter, it is time to fill up the engine with new oil. Your oil fill cap is located on the top of the valve cover underneath the driver's compartment. It says oil on the cap. Insert funnel to help keep messes to a minimum. Now it is time to fill the engine. Use only approved oils and weights for filling the engine oil up. We use AMSOIL 1540 synthetic oil in our fleets because it seems to hold up to the strenuous activities required of our material handling equipment. It takes approximately 8 quarts to fill the system. You want to fill it about 6 quarts, put the cap on, let it run for a couple minutes, then pull the dipstick located here and check the fluid quantities on the dipstick and fill accordingly. Now we've filled our oil up. We're tightening the cap back on, just good and snug, and cycling the key switch. Then let it run. Now we can check our dipstick and see our oil quantities. This is the engine oil dipstick located right behind the fuel filter. So we're still a little low on the dipstick. We need to add. There's hash marks on the dipstick that'll indicate whether or not it's full. Make sure it's fully pushed into the dipstick tube or it won't get an accurate reading. Now that we've added all the oil to the engine, it's time to check the dipstick again. Pull it out and wipe off excess oil. Stick the dipstick tube all the way back in and check it again. Trying to get the focus there. We're perfectly within the hash marks. Now, since we have these covers off, it's a good time to just visually inspect for things that might be out of place. You can pop your clips here and check your engine air filter out. Your transmission filter is located here. Just visually see, make sure there is no leaks, no wet spots. Here's the dipstick. You turn it counterclockwise and pull it up and check it while the engine is running on flat ground. Your engine belt system and alternator is back here. You want to make sure that everything is firmly in place and the belt has a good tension on it. Check our battery connections. They seem to be good. Let's give it a quick walk around. Make sure your hydraulic controls are not leaking. Coolant quantities are within spec. Then you can reinstall the floor. You can reinstall the floor in reverse operation of how you removed it. Just slide it in place to these little tabs. Make sure it sits down firmly. And then you can add your floor mat. It's cut with a relief to fit the gas pedal, accelerator. Make sure it's firmly pushed up snug. Now you make sure there's nothing in the way. You can bring down the hood to close. And just like that, you've changed the oil on your Doosan D30 Forklift. Changing engine oil on any type of internal combustion engine is one of the single most important things you can do to ensure longevity of the machine and the equipment, to minimize downtimes, and to make it run as efficiently as intended.